Clive.
Matt, thank you for that. And that's it. So, goodbye from me. Now on BBC One, time for the news where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, I'm Asad Ahmad. Racist, sexist and homophobic messages exchanged between Metropolitan Police officers between 2016 and 18 have been released in a report by the police watchdog. The Mayor of London says he's utterly disgusted. The Met says it's deeply sorry. Well, we got this reaction a short time ago from Sal Naseem, the police watchdog's director for London. That was Sal Naseem from the IOPC. A gay man and a trans woman were told to leave a takeaway by a man who then threatened to stab them. Footage shows Londoners Valentino Kiriakou and Nea Martinez being subjected to homophobic slurs by a group of men in Wembley. The TikTok video shows the friends being told that they would be shanked or stabbed if they return to the area. Police are investigating. The world's first exhibition of Vincent van Gogh's self-portraits spanning his entire career is opening in London. The exhibition was 10 years in the making and includes 2 paintings which are under the same roof for the first time since Van Gogh painted them 130 years ago. Here's Michael Mackenzie. Michael Mackenzie there. Now today is Chinese New Year, the year of the tiger. The last 2 Chinese New Year celebrations have been a bit muted due to coronavirus, but this year will be a chance for things to pick up. So we headed to Chinatown in Soho. And a happy Chinese New Year to all those celebrating. Now the weather with Elizabeth.
Hello, good afternoon. To see some outbreaks of rain and eventually some cooler air.
Well, that's it. We're back at 6:30, and just to tell you that BBC 3 returns to our TV screens tonight after 6 years away. Its launch is at 7 p.m. Well, whatever you do this afternoon, I wish you a very good afternoon and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
And it'll feel a bit on the cold side again, Sophie.
Helen, thank you. And that's it from us. Now on BBC One, it's time to join the BBC's news teams where you are. Goodbye.
Good evening. Coming up on BBC London. The police watchdog uncovers disgraceful behaviour by some officers at Charing Cross Police Station.
We uncovered a culture of bullying, of sexual harassment, of misogyny, racism and a range of discrimination that was prevalent within these teams.
The Met says it's deeply sorry and does not represent the values of the force. Also tonight. 8 out of 10 Londoners have seen an increase in their cost of living, according to City Hall. Are you one of them? Plus, how winning £127,000 was the worst day of one woman's life. She tells us why. And it's a dog's life, how pet sitting services are booming as workers return to the office. A very warm welcome to the programme. First tonight, more on that damning report by the police watchdog which uncovered a disgraceful culture of bullying, misogyny, racism and sexual harassment among some ranks of the Met, mainly based at Charing Cross Police Station. It found evidence of numerous offensive and discriminatory WhatsApp messages. The Met says it's deeply sorry to Londoners. A warning that this report by our Home Affairs correspondent Lauren Moss contains some distressing details. And Lauren joins me now. This is shocking and a devastating criticism of the Met.
Indeed. I mean, the Mayor of London has said he's absolutely disgusted by these reports.
OK. For now, Lauren, we will leave it there. Lauren Moss, thank you. Meanwhile, as Lauren mentioned there, the Met is still investigating 12 events in Downing Street and Whitehall over alleged breaches of COVID rules, including 3 that the Prime Minister reportedly attended. So 24 hours after the Sue Gray update, what do Londoners make of it all? Our political correspondent, Carl Mercer, went to find out in both the PM's constituency and also Romford, from where he starts his report. Turning to the cost of living now, nearly 8 out of 10 Londoners say they've seen an increase since the summer. That's according to a new survey commissioned by City Hall. The Mayor is calling on the government to do more to tackle the squeeze on household budgets. Well, Tolu Aderiye is here and you've been looking at this in more detail.
Yes, and the findings might not massively surprise people given what's been going on with inflation, energy bills. This was a YouGov online survey.
And with the rising cost of living such a big issue for so many at the moment, we will continue to cover this on our programme. So if you're feeling the squeeze or struggling to make ends meet and you are happy to speak to us about it, we'd love to hear from you. Do get in touch at hellobbclondon@bbc.co.uk. A roundup of some of the other stories in brief. The driver held by police after mowing down a knife attacker in Maida Vale has been released with no further action. The man struck Leon McCaskra with his car after McCaskra had stabbed his ex-partner Yasmin Shgaifi to death in the street. Thousands of people had joined a campaign in support of the driver. And in London, more than 1 in 4 children are starting school at the risk of catching measles. Across the country, vaccine rates have dropped to their lowest level in a decade, and parents are being urged to ensure their children have had their measles, mumps and rubella vaccine before starting school. Now, how can winning £127,000 turn out to be the worst day of your life? That's what my next guest says. It comes as the charity Gamble Aware estimates around 1 million women in Britain are at risk of harmful gambling. Well, Lisa Walker, as I mentioned, from Raynham, joins me now. Really good to have you here with us. So you won this in one night at poker. Tell us why you say this was the worst day of your life. Well, Lisa, thank you so much, not just for raising awareness, but for coming in and telling your story. We really do appreciate it and wish you well.
Thank you.
And after hearing Lisa's story, if you're concerned about the issues raised or perhaps someone you know, a reminder, there are details of organisations offering help and support in confidence on the BBC Action Line website at the address there. Now, it is an incredible story of an artist who barely sold a painting during his lifetime, but who went on to become one of the most famous in history. I'm talking about Van Gogh, who once lived here in London, the city that is now hosting a landmark exhibition focusing on his self-portraits, as Alice Bandakravi can tell us. Today is a very special day for lots of East Asian communities in the capital, as it marks the beginning of festivities for the Lunar New Year. 2022 also marks the Year of the Tiger. Celebrations will take place across London. Well, our reporter Megan Owen is in Chinatown this evening. I was going to say good evening, or should I say Xin Nian Kuai Le? And it's not just the restaurateurs in Chinatown who are enjoying a boom in business. Demand for dog-sitting services are on the rise, as workers returning to the office need to find daycare for their pandemic pooches, as Aisha Baksh reports from Surrey. How can that not make you smile? And with that, time for the February weather with Elizabeth. Hello.
Hello, thank you, Riz. So we'll start off February by looking back at January. Now, did you do dry January? Because the weather certainly did. The temperatures dipped back down to high single figures on Friday, only to rise again over the weekend, which again is looking dry.
Thanks very much. And by the way, in a moment, BBC Three returns to our TV screens. Join Greg James and Clara Amfo for the launch party at 7. For now, though, from me and everyone on the London team, thanks very much for watching and do have a lovely evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
And that's it. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Have a good night.
Good evening, I'm Riz Lateef. More now on revelations by the police watchdog that it's discovered a disgraceful culture of bullying, misogyny and sexual harassment among some officers, mainly based at Charing Cross. It found evidence of numerous offensive and discriminatory WhatsApp messages. The Met says it's deeply sorry to Londoners and acknowledges the damage it will have on trust and confidence in the force. A warning: this report by our Home Affairs correspondent Lauren Moss contains some distressing details. And I asked Lauren earlier just how devastating these revelations are for the Met. Lauren Moss there. Now, with many businesses struggling during the pandemic, for some restaurants in Chinatown, could this Chinese New Year be a hugely significant one? We've been hearing from 3 of them as celebrations for the Year of the Tiger take place across the capital. Xin Nian Kuai to all those celebrating. By the way, if you're a business with a story you think we should be covering, whether it's challenges or a positive experience to share, we're always keen to hear from you. Please do get in touch at hellobbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Plenty more, of course, on our website and social media. I'll wish you a very good night and leave you with a check on the weather. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Blustery and sunny across the capital today. Wind gusts recorded in Northolt and in Kenley in South London of 47 miles an hour from Storm Corrie.